tested and compared popular sunscreens again, so you didn't have to. Can you do me a favour? Before you continue watching the video, please just subscribe so you can learn more about skin and how to stay safe. And also, that would just be so nice of you. But anyways, I did this test months ago on my legs and I'm doing it again, and this is why. Sunscreens all have an SPF, which measures how well sunscreens can protect you from UVB radiation. But you might be asking, what's UVB radiation compared to normal UV? So there are different types of UV radiation, two of which are UVA and UVB, and UVB causes cancer to burn and damage your skin. It's also the primary cause of skin cancer through UV radiation. And then you've got UVA, which tans you and is still carcinogenic, but less so than UVB. So anyways, when I first tested the sunscreens, I actually didn't burn, I only tanned. So that means I was only measuring UVA radiation. As sunscreens measure UVB, I wasn't properly testing sunscreens and how much damage they can actually protect me. So I'm going to make some changes, and this time I was applying sunscreen every 2 hours instead of every 1 hour. And also I'm outside in a higher UV level, so that should also help and penetrate my skin, the sunscreen, deeper. So these are sunscreens which I'm comparing. I'm comparing the Nivea SPF Kids Sunscreen, Nivea 30, the Garnier Amber Solaire, She Loves Skincare Mineral 50, the Boots Mineral Sunscreen, the Rituals 30 Body Sunscreen, the Rituals 30 SPF Face Sunscreen, and I tested these sunscreens by sitting outside with sunscreen on the inside of my arm. And when I was outside, I kept the rest of my body covered and also wore sunscreen because I don't want to get skin cancer, and I need to stay safe myself. I'm not a hypocrite. So while I was waiting, I had snacks, and I kind of did nothing because it was kind of bright. And my big back self had iPad kid fingers with salt and Maggie things, and I couldn't wash my hands because I taped up my arms to separate the tanning areas and where the sunscreen was. But unfortunately it was kind of paper masking tape, so it was going to come off if I washed my hands. So when I was testing the sunscreens, I had tape on my arms to separate the different areas, and also so I could label without having to put damaging inks and Sharpie on my skin. I also used a UV lamp, so that means I could have more UV coming onto my skin. Even though it's not the best for it, we could get the best results. And yes, this did need electricity through a weird USB cable, which could only actually go through this 2011 iPad thing. It wasn't actually an iPad, it's an old Mac. So it's kind of an antique, so don't clock me for that. Then I applied a similar amount of sunscreen for that area on each part of my arm. So after I was done, I gave it some time to see if any burn had developed, and the next day I took some pictures of my arm. Even though in the pictures you will not be able to see all the burn, in real life you can trust me, I can feel and see where certain areas burn the most, and for the results I shall tell you. So, starting from last place, it was Nivea 30 SPF. It left burn and it's quite oily, and it basically just left the darkest and reddest area on my arm, so it's not the best. And just use the 50 SPF Nivea because that protects so much better. The next was the Boots 30 SPF Mineral Sunscreen. There was some burn and there is a white cast, but it was less oily and I had less burn than the Nivea 30, so we don't like that. The next best, still wasn't great, was the Garnier Amber Solaire 30 SPF. Then again, it did leave a less burn, but there was still some, and it was oily, but it kind of smelled nice. I mean, that didn't change it, but it left less damage than the others. And then actually, for third place, now we have the Nivea SPF Kids formula. I think it's good. I don't know if it's better than the normal Nivea 50 just because it's a kids one and there are more enforcements and rules, but it was good. And, you know, as someone who does not have the skin of like a 4-year-old, it was good. And then for second, we have the She Loves Skincare 50 SPF Mineral Sunscreen. I quite like it, and this is one which I personally use every single day. It works. It doesn't leave a white cast despite it being a mineral sunscreen. Well, it's partly mineral. And also it's not too oily for my skin, so that's good. And it actually left no burn, but I could still notice there was some tan there, and that is still damage, so it's not always the best, but it was really good, and it was like a strong sunscreen. The next sunscreen, and the best, was actually the Rituals 30 SPF. It was 30 SPF, and after having been outside, it was the only sunscreen where there was no trace of it. You know, I used the same amount as all the others, but it just worked really well. I don't know if it's just because it's a face sunscreen and it's actually worked better. I'm not sure, because, you know, it would usually face sunscreens are more effective. But anyways, thank you so much for watching the video, and please interact. That'd be something which you could do, which would be really nice, and it would also make my day. And also just remember that wearing sunscreen is so much better than wearing nothing. Always, you know, try and cover up in the sun. It's not good for you. Tanning is not good. And follow Term Diva and wear sunscreen. So